to all the veggies and fruits who are watching us at home today. My name is Lori Berry. The topic of the day is GMOs. Consumers are widely exposed to GMO products, which were first introduced in the 1990s. About 70% of processed foods on shelves use at least some GMO ingredients. GMO crops are grown commercially by 8.25 million farmers on 200 million acres spread throughout 17 countries. So joining us today in studio to talk more about this is probably one of the most well-known and famous GMOs of 2014, the CEO of Monsanto, one of the biggest corporations that holds GMO seeds and sell them to farmers, Mr. Edward Supercorn.
Well, thank you, Miss Berry, for having me today. I'm really glad to have the opportunity to talk more in depth about GMOs, which, as you know, is something I've grown very accustomed to.
Mr. Corn, I would like to start, if you may, by discussing what exactly are GMOs so it is crystal clear to our audience.
Well, absolutely, Barry. So the term GMO stands for genetically modified organism. GMO contains ingredients from plant and animals that can be produced by simply taking the gene of a species and inserting it into another one. This allows scientists to combine genes from completely unrelated species of plants, microbes, and animals. The desired trait or characteristic of the species in particular can hence be transferred to a different species. For example, the gene of a fish that is able to survive in freezing water can be injected into a tomato so that it can have a greater resistance to cold. Moreover, some of the most modified food are tomatoes, wheat, soybeans, corn, cow's milk, eggs, peanut, tree nut, fish, and shellfish. So as you can see, there's a lot of them.
Some would certainly agree that this is fascinating.
Don't you think so, Miss Berry?
Well, I would say that I'm definitely very reluctant towards the idea of injected genes of fishes, insects, and God knows what into our children's organisms and our new generations of crops. I think that most of us that have an unfavorable attitude toward GMOs are concerned about the fact that they could have an unknown effect or modification of genes on nutritional content, environmental quality, morality, and animal welfare.
I see. Well, maybe this will change your mind, Miss Berry. I would like to discuss a few of the benefits of GMOs. So basically, GMOs allow producer with opportunity to lower their cost of production, enhance their crop production, as well as increasing their profit.
Alright, but let me ask you this. Do you consider those factors as pros of GMOs even if they may come at the cost of our health? For instance, even though it is proven that GMO crops have less allergens, they create new ones at the same time.
Well, this is something that vegetables and fruit always comes up to me about. There's no research that indicates that GMOs are detrimental to our health or the one who consumes us. GMOs actually reduce the use of chemical and pesticides on our crops. They even enhance our taste and quality and provide us with a greater nutritional value. More importantly, GMOs increase our resistance to disease and pests.
But wouldn't you say that GMOs have a detrimental effect on the environment since insects slowly change themselves to adapt to the GMO's resistance? It's as if they created mutant insects. I mean, GMOs certainly do have an impact on our environment. And how do you think it reduces the use of pesticides? Since the wheat develops a resistance to them, you would have to keep adding more and more for it to have an effect.
We will have to see that in the long term, Miss Berry, because for sure they have a certain impact in our environment, but I assure you that it is in a positive way. I think that GMOs definitely constitute progress for our society. Today, we can combine the trait of certain organisms with others to create more efficient crops that can survive cold weathers and the vicious attack of insects. So I think basically it's for the best.
I see. Yeah, it's not like I'm convinced anyway, but thank you for your participation today, Mr. Korn, and thank you to our audience. Our discussion about GMOs certainly doesn't stop here, so you can all go to our website to tell us what you think about GMOs. We certainly all share different point of views on the subject matter. To all, thanks again. I'll see you next week for another quick chit chat with Lori Berry.